Welcome, friends. We are here for yet another board game design stream. Hello, Senior Bob. Great to see you in the chat. Hope that you're doing well. Hope that you're holding up. This is quarantine day 456. Or at least it feels like it over on my end. We just implemented a stay-at-home policy in, I don't know if it's just Seattle or the state of Washington, but yeah, essential travel only, so we're a little stuck here. Senior Bob subscribed at Tier 1, subscribed for 4 months. Congratulations on your sub-anniversary. Let me see, let me go grab him. Be right back. Go. Look at that. Look at the camera. He was sleeping on the sofa. He was very grumpy now. He didn't want to be on TV. Why do I have to be on TV? I don't want to be a superstar. I just want to be sleepy. I know, right? Isn't he a floof? Look at him. He's, we got a new food, just new chicken food, and he's really appreciative of it. He likes his food, so... Now, what? No, he's gonna be all disgruntled. Why? I was sleeping. I just want to have my nap, and he's probably gonna poke me. Yeah, you're really cute. Everyone really appreciates you. It's a little bit of cat to start off our game design stream today. So I'm thinking about trying something a little bit different, as I posted in the title of the stream. Couple of things. First, I wanted to do a recap of last week's game designs because it was pretty exciting and actually released one of the games from the stream, which is really cool. And second off, we're going to do our normal brainstorming session type stuff, but I also want to dig into Tabletop Simulator. For those of you who don't know, it's one of the many digital board game platforms that are getting a lot of attention right now. There's Tabletop Simulator, Tabletopia, Board Game Arena, and a few others that I forget the names of. There's lots of options to be able to play tabletop board games digitally. It's very different from playing video games digitally because you still get a lot of the feel of board games of rolling dice, moving cards, you have hands of cards. It still has a pretty good approximation of a feel of a board game. A lot of designers I know are moving to Tabletop Simulator to test their stuff because they can't test in person right now. I'm doing a weekly event on Wednesdays with the Seattle tabletop game designers where we meet digitally and test things in Tabletopia and Tabletop Simulator. If you're interested in that, I've been trying to figure out the best way to run this, but for now, I'm just having people join the Seattle Tabletop Game Designers Facebook group. Usually, I gotta say that. Usually I try to keep it local if, say, if you're someone that I know. People can join the Seattle Game Designers Facebook group. I'm going to actually post the link to that. The reason that I have it set to private is I've had people from, like, Switzerland post their Kickstarters in there who've never participated in the group. So... it's mostly focused on our physical playtesting, but especially now when so much stuff is digital, I am happy to have you all join the Seattle group so you can get in on the Discord and connect there. Because we are digital, we can have many more people connected in there, and I know that a lot of people are looking for opportunities to connect and get their games tested, so I'm just going to go ahead and post this in the chat so people can have access to that resource. One of my main focuses right now is making sure that everyone, designers, keeping testing, keeping designing things, and also just stay connected. I want to do my part to make sure that people have things to keep them connected to each other in these tough times. Himalaya says, playing video games analogly is the literal worst. It's nice that analog games adapt more smoothly to a video experience. It is really interesting, right? The fact that we can play board games digitally is pretty fascinating because most board games really require, or most video games really require that video game stuff. You couldn't port them. If the internet went away, you wouldn't be able to put it into a physical experience. So the fact that we can go back and forth between platforms is a pretty unique aspect of tabletop design. Is Tabletop Simulator web-based for Windows or is it an app? It's in Steam, or I use it in Steam. I think there's other platforms as well. I'm not sure if it's cross-platform. It is also a paid program, so unlike some of the others, every system has a little bit of a different payment scheme to it. For Tabletop Simulator, I believe it's $20, and you have access to that and the games on it. Others are like a monthly fee to play all the games. Tabletop Simulator feels like it comes a little bit more from a design perspective. Again, I'm just getting into using the different digital platforms, but from what I've heard so far, Tabletop Simulator is one of the easier ones to use. I'm going to try doing it today live on stream because I watched half of a tutorial video and now I feel like a genius and that nothing can stop me. But it's cool because so far what I've seen from the tutorial video is it's a lot less intimidating, at least for a card game, than I thought it was going to be. And a lot of getting into a program like this is just starting to use it, play around with it. Most of the time it's easier than you think it's going to be, or less intimidating than you think it's going to be. Available by Steam. I've got a local group that set up a Tabletop Simulator group. Nice. Brad B7. Hello. Hello, Adorable Cat. Hello, Gameologist. Thanks for cluing me into it. Bad Bachelor, thank you so much for joining us today. Steam says, as because the laptop I have is for the day job, so I don't think I can load an app. Okay. Yeah, for our group, what we're doing a combination of things. So for the Seattle playtest, Seattle Designers Facebook group, I posted the link to. When we do our digital meetups, we'll basically do whatever people have. So far, we've used both Tabletop Simulator and Tabletopia. The one nice thing about Tabletop Simulator was when we were using it, was easier to hop into. So because you have multiple people in a room around a table, at least up to 8. It was easy for a couple of people to be in there watching as the playtest happened. For Tabletopia, and this might have just been a rough day, because I know a lot of these programs, their servers are overloaded now because so many people are trying to play board games digitally. Surprise, surprise. So we were having some trouble. I was having trouble connecting to Tabletopia, but it might have just been a thing that happened that day. But Tabletopia is nice because it is browser-based. So again, for our group, or if you're running your own design group, having your own tests, it's nice to have a couple different options for people. We do the actual coordination of our digital playtest events through Discord. So Discord's a really easy program. Spin up a server, just hop into rooms together. You can set up multiple text chats and also voice chats. So it's really easy to coordinate from within Discord. And now some people are using Zoom as well. And then just someone will post a link if it's on Tabletopia or Tabletop Simulator, and then we can go into the different rooms and test the games. So far it's been pretty good. A little hit or miss. I'm trying to get the input sound working for my stream in OBS so that I can stream some of the playtest sessions, because I think people being able to watch it and see exactly how it's coordinated could be helpful as well. We're also just playing around, relevant to last week's stream. I'm going to bring up the brainstorm actually. We're talking about games that you can play in different platforms, or even co-design in different platforms that don't require any specialized sort of software. Games that you can play in Twitter, games that you can play on Discord or over email. This was the game that I had released last week. And post a link to it because I think it's pretty cool because it came out of the stream. And again, thanks to Gameologist for the great suggestion for starting to work on and design games that are a little more accessible for people. And this is cool because I can actually talk about the game that I had made and some of the response and feedback to that game. And then we'll get into seeing if we can put this thing in Tabletop Simulator and maybe a little just freeform brainstorming at the end of today's show. TMP Robinson, good evening to you as well. Woohoo, it's a Michigander takeover. Senior Bob is cool with us. He comes from one of the M states as well. TMP Robinson, by the way, why does the timer say the stream will start in 38 minutes? Oh. Ugh. Does it not do... it looks like it doesn't do daylight savings time. I think because we had the daylight savings time and it didn't switch over, which is frustrating. Thanks for letting me know that. I hadn't checked in on that. I'm not gonna fix it right now because I have more important things to do. I'm gonna make a note to fix that because yeah, that is frustrating. Put it in my Evernote. Really appreciate that kind of question. That's always one of those things. You set everything up on your site, and me as the creator doesn't necessarily know when something is not working as it should. Cool. So yeah, we had worked on some games. I was going to post the link to this. Perfect. I need to find a name for what these games are called. That's been my biggest struggle over the past week. I'm gonna go with my thing. What do we call games that can be played on free web-based platforms? Trello, Twitter, Pinterest. And what do we call games? What do we call tabletop adjacent games? Because the idea is, we're not making video games exactly. We're making things that are very low investment. Characteristic of these games. Low time investment, easy to learn, not a lot of rules. Rules are pinned to the game. So when I'd done the Twitter game that I just posted the link to, the rules are actually in the tweet itself, so it's really easy to reference back. In some way, either the game is simple enough or the rules propagate along with the game itself so that it's kind of self-maintaining. They like drop in, drop out, so that people can enter and leave the magic circle at will. And this is a really interesting aspect. So I was pretty happy with the Twitter game that we came up with. Some people really seemed to enjoy it. It didn't get as much traction as I had hoped it would, and what I think is the issue, again, we're playtesting this stuff live, which is super cool. The people, it didn't give the option for people to opt in. Because the way that the game was spread is that you, as a player, need to reach out to someone without first verifying if they want to play this game. It can be kind of anything, especially for Twitter, where you're just tagging someone and be like, hey, play this game with me. It's usually that's more of a conversation, right? It's like, hey, do you want to play this game with me? So having that little bit of welcoming people to, it's like a foyer. A foyer for welcoming people to the Magic Circle. So it's not just, hey, we're playing this game now. And with this one in particular, storytelling game, I've realized, like, I have to keep drilling this into my brain. It's something that's very easy for me, but not as easy for a lot of other people. So it was a little too open-ended. Of it just being any story, anything that we can create. Like, I start a story. It's kind of like the idea behind it is it's the game where you write a line at a time stories. You write a line, you fold it over on the piece of paper. The next person can only see the line before it. So you get these kind of weird, interesting, evolving stories. Yeah, I'm very passionate and excited to keep working on this. The first experiment was pretty good, learned a lot from it. So want to wrap those learnings back specifically in making it really easy and fun for people to get involved. And feel like they're part of something special. So yeah, I need a term for these games because I called the one Twitter game because it was a game done on Twitter, but a broader platform agnostic term. Networked games. Ooh. Senior Robin said, sounds like Tabletopia might be a better platform for me because the browser based. Yeah, you should definitely check that out. I'm just gonna post the link here. And I think when I was in it too, it might have just been a bad time for it getting, and I know they've worked on developing the servers as well, so. Yeah, and most groups, you can hop back and forth between Tabletopia and Tabletop Simulator, so. Alright, let's see what you got here for names. Looks like we got some good stuff. Networked games. Isn't something that requires a social network, regardless of format. I like that. I like that. Team P. Robinson, some sort of variation on party game, which has the connotation of lighter rules. Yeah. Self-contained social game. Self-contained networked game. I like that. All these are really good. Yeah, because in the idea like party game, but the party is online. Burst games. I feel like burst games isn't as descriptive, but I kind of really like it. It feels very evocative to me. I just like saying it. Gamo says, I deliberately tagged in someone I knew as a game storyteller who'd likely be up for trying something different. I hoped he'd tag similar folks, and he did. Yeah. I mean, I think for the people who had played it, yeah, I think I would say that the game was like 90% there. And I've even been thinking since then of doing just a version 2 of it. Where with an opt-in option, you gather a number of people to play, then you so it's an extra, it is a little bit of an extra step, but it makes the game itself more structured and bounded. Play, for example, tagging them in a tweet, or just asking wants to play a Twitter story game. Each tweet is one of number of players. So the story has a determined length. Which is something I did for And Then We Died, which worked out really well, is having a little bit more structure there. So your first tweet is 1 of 7, 2 of 7, etc. 7 of 7 is the last tweet. Each person tags the next person in the list. So having it be a little bit more structured like that, and I don't know, maybe having a story seed. Maybe just straight up And Then We Died. Yeah, it's a couple different ways. I definitely do intend to re-release that, and people wanted to be playing it on other platforms as well, so I think it's still got a little life in it. Alright, let's get back to names. Like Burst, Blitz is another quick sort of name. Blitz game. Alright. Names. I'm gonna put them out here. Networked games. Self-contained social game. Self-contained. I like this idea of containment too. It makes me think of Resident Evil or something like that. Game. Quarantine game? That's a little dark, but burst game. Blitz game. I love that we're coming up with game genres here. Shareable social games. Ooh, that's pretty good. Like, I like the feel of a lot of these names, but that's probably about the closest to capturing what I'm going for feel-wise. Shareable social games. Community game is good as well. This kind of comes up when I was talking about Have You Had Enough Cheese, which was meant to be a convention game, so it's in the line of that. Let me say like online community game, digital community game. You know what might work better? Have the next response be in a quote tweet. It isolates the tweet better, and it can encourage new players to opt in. Oh yeah, sorry, I'm going back and forth between the two plans here. That was another thing, because I was thinking of another version of the game that would be reverse, so starting from the end. I'm going to draw this out, say like, the flowers never grew back. End. So this would be the tweet. And then maybe you would tag someone. And this one, because that's an interesting thing too. In the original version of it, it was a linear. But logarithmic. I've been thinking about this because watching the virus spread charts, all very scary, but this idea that it branching, multiple people can join in the story and make it go in multiple directions. So what I like for starting at the end for the quote tweet version of the game is it's as you drill down, you go in towards the story. Because if you start at the beginning and quote tweet, then you're going to have, if you find one of the end nodes, right, and you go backwards, you'll see the story going back through time, which is a little more confusing. Whereas if you start at the end, oh, and that was the other nice thing too. When you start at the end, you can actually have the rules pick in there, so you drill all the way down to the end and the rules is in there, so you don't have to necessarily have the link to the rules in each one, which was a little other interesting thing. Alright, so the flowers never grew back, and maybe tag someone, or the rules are just in there. So you like quote tweet this with the next. So you're writing the stories back. So what came before that, right? Quote tweet with what came before. So the thing after is the flowers never grew back. Again, it's even a little hard to visualize and see how this would work, but that was the day the war ended. And then as people are quoting it, they're only going to see the one section of it. And you drill down, and maybe before that, they laid down their guns. As a quote tweet for this whole thing. So it's like storyception. I'd meant for that to be just another whole game, but that might be a good direction to take the whole thing in. Because it might be a little easier to manipulate. Ooh, we didn't talk about using your camera for the Twitter games. Yeah, we did not, but there's... Again, I mean, we might even just do more brainstorming on these sort of, what are we calling them now? Digital community bursts networked games. Dive-in games, like that. Plunge, dash. I might be looking at a thesaurus. Hey, I love looking at a thesaurus and coming up with new names for things. One of my favorite things. Games, plunge games. We're in the thick of it. We're brainstorming real good. Emailologist is talking about weaving photos into the story itself. Yeah? Yeah? Respond with an image or text. That might be a little easier for people who aren't as comfortable with writing. With an image, GIF, video, or text, as long as it fits in with the story. Burst party game, viral party game. I both like and dislike somehow using viral. I mean, I think viral is what we're going for here. It's definitely intended to be part of the feel of it. It's like, do we want to use that word? Usually when people ascribe viral to the things they're doing and not to something someone else is doing, then it's not a great look. Contagious games. Oh gosh, it's just one of those things now. It's hard to know exactly how much dark humor to use. Because I think that having humor in stressful times like this can help to keep people sane, but it's definitely a line to walk, right? Between, some people are really suffering, you don't want to make light of their suffering, but sometimes you will go crazy if you just don't find a way to laugh. Pandemic games, social distancing approved games, all these are really good. Thanks for helping me brainstorm some of this. Pandemic games. Games in a time of crisis. Crisis. Games, social distancing, party games, social distancing, tabletop games, chain games. Ooh, chain or chaining. Nice, Senior Bob. Okay, this one's interesting because a lot of the ones we had talked about, like this one, this Twitter game that we're talking about definitely falls in the chain realm. Man, burst games. I love all these names. Like, chain games could be a subset. We're gonna make we're inventing multiple genres of tabletop games right now. That's pretty cool. Chain games could be a version that's one where you tag people. Where there's others like the Pinterest game or the Trello games that we were talking about that might be within this sphere. Chain games. I really like that though. Chaining games. Yeah, Senior Bob, the part about instead of tagging someone, it's so funny too because I realized like I don't, because I thought it's, oh, you just tag the next person in the story, and then people were tagging me for other stuff on Twitter. I'm like, oh man, I really don't like being tagged for things. Like being tagged, there's a lot of pressure. Being tagged puts a lot of pressure on people to perform. And you see the quote tweet, the nesting, the chains. It's something that happens organically with a lot of these games and mini games. And this is something that already exists. This is something that people play. It's not quite, it's not formalized, you know? When someone's like, I'll show a picture of this thing, and someone else quotes it and says, show a picture of this thing, and you can dig down through the chain to see this really cool history of where the tweet, even more so than just responding to a tweet, this inception sort of a thing. But yeah, especially with the reverse branching story, and then you can go drill down into it towards the end and then go back out and see all the resulting tweets, all the different ways that it's been shared. And those are basically the two options. I mean, there's probably other options as well, but two core things you can do. Either you tag or you leave it kind of open. And there's, you know, sort of like an invitation, inviting people to the Magic Circle. Like, hey, who wants to join this game? So have it partially reach out as like, hey, tag, do you want to play a game? And whoever responds plays the game. So I think that's one of the most interesting and complicated things about this type of game that we're trying to create is it's meant to be light and easy and not put a lot of pressure on people. How do we create that but also make a way that it is easy to spread, easy for people to join in? And you can do something like the way Wavelength has implemented its Twitter presence with doing the graph and then just the prompts, and people pick the clues, I think is how that works, which is interesting because it's pretty different from how the actual gameplay is. When I finally played Wavelength, I was surprised because it wasn't what I was expecting based on the online presence. Emo says, what about a bot that manages the game, sends a quote tweet of the last passage out to tagged players and asks them to reply? Players replies and adds them as quoted tweets to the main thread. So you can see the entire story on the bot's feed. The individual players only have to deal with single passages. I like that. I would like to either have all the games be on a Twitter account or involve bots in some way. Because I think that, as you're saying, Gameologist, having AI or something in the background to smooth the implementation of it can provide a lot of benefits. Social contagion is a thing. It's about social influence travels through networks. This sort of game exploits those patterns. Yeah. A social contagion game. I don't think we wrote that. Party game. Yeah, for the bot here. Tweet at the last passage out to tag players. Asks them to reply and then quote tweets. Because you can quote tweet multiple times, right? I think that's how you get around the only one retweet. So you have your tweet. Bot goes to tagged player. Tweet, and they respond. And the bot takes respond. Bot collects the responses. And then the bot quote tweets. So this is the response, yeah. With the tweet. Alright. That makes sense. Brad says, interesting that unlike most games, the entire play of this is archived. Yeah. Wonder if that could be used somehow. You have the power to resurrect a previous game story and branch it in different directions. Oh, yeah. Definitely. I mean, I love physical games. I love tabletop games. What really excites me about this digital direction, not just that it's the only thing we can really do right now in these isolated times, but there's a lot of stuff, even outside of video games, making use of frame rates and graphics and sound and all the different things that digital games can do, but just the archiving, the connection of nodes, the referencing references. You know, this piece is connected to this other piece. I mean, you could even do crazy, just mechanical games on. You could play chess on Twitter and Nest and just have all these arrows pointing in different directions. I also just love the idea of breaking platforms and making them do things that they weren't originally intended to do. I think that's a really fun thing. And that's the sound of the fam playing at a chain game. Chain gang, yeah. Propagation games, creeping games. Nice. All these are such good. I don't know how I'm gonna pick a name for this. All these are really good. How did I get a plus in there? Creeping games. Creepy creeping games. Creepy creepers. Propagation. Digital propagation games. And of course there's the name that people use in their day-to-day language to talk about the games. It's like, have you played the latest chain game, for example? And There's the name that researchers hundreds of years from now will use to describe them. The digital propagation games of the early 2020s were a fascinating evolution and response to the pandemic. I never did get a response from Medium about doing a Twitter game. Yeah, I was thinking about that today, actually. It's so weird in these times where there's the added layer, because I know a lot of people who work at these different companies, and if I reach out to them about a business thing, like, I don't know what the state of their business is, if their business is in utter collapse, if they're just really stressed out. So I'm still thinking about that. I've been reaching out to a lot of people for a lot of different projects I have in process, but I might see if I can ping them and see if that's something they could do or something that I could even do with their blessing, because I think that would be a really fun thing to play. Hundreds of years from now, researchers will still be arguing about the word game means. Yep. Yeah. You're absolutely right. What is a game? What even is it? What is game? Cool. Okay, now we come to the part of the stream where we try and figure out if we can do this tabletop simulator thing. If I could just get the cards in there, that would be pretty awesome. What does it want? It wants PNGs. Wait, why would you not save as a PNG? It's mad for some reason. It's like we are instantly foiled by not being able to save the Photoshop file as a PNG. I'm just going to do this in the background while you talk to oh, okay, we can export as a PNG. Okay, cool. It's like, are we going to be able to do that, or are we just instantly going to be thwarted? I know some folks are all doing the work from home thing and adjusting from that. Yeah. Is fishing a game? Oh gosh. It's like, are we really going to get into this right now? Okay. Man, it's tough for me too, because my... it's something I think about frequently, probably at least once a week, and my definition keeps changing for what a game is. Like, one of the core parts, for me, having a winner and a loser is not essential. Even because cooperative games, if you as a team lose, then the game wins. So cooperative games technically have a winner and a loser. Competitive games obviously have a winner and a loser, or sometimes multiple winners, sometimes multiple losers. But for me personally, don't have to have a winner or a loser. And then we died. It's absolutely a game. There's not just a winner or a loser, but is there a way to win the game? For my definition, there doesn't have to be a way to win. And then we died. There doesn't have to be a way to lose the game. There's no way to lose, and then we died. People ask me that sometimes. They say, you lose by not dying at the end of it? Although, if you told a cool story, you lose by not telling a cool story, I guess. By not doing the stuff of the game. And then we died still very much has meaningful decisions and meaningful choices. So... For a long time, saying like, oh, it's pretty much anything that has a goal that you're working towards and meaningful choices that you make along the way. But, other things, Chutes and Ladders, Candyland, there's some games, like those are games, it has a winner and loser, it has a goal that you're working towards, but it doesn't have any meaningful choices. So, yeah, it's a tough question. For fishing... Yeah, you have a goal, you're making choices. Then it gets kind of into the question about sports, definition of sports versus game, because fishing is very much a sport. And our sports games, I don't know, there's a lot of stuff that goes into that. It depends, are you trying to catch game species or non-game species? I feel like that's a pun. Alright. We're going to do this. I had labeled this as Tabletop Simulator, so I do want to pop over there real quick and see if we can figure that out. Oh, cool. This is actually working. Huh. I was like, didn't think that I had that set up. Interesting. Okay. And how about if I minimize this? What happens? No. Because it did pop there in a little bit. Okay. I'm just messing around with stuff. You all can't see what this is. I'm just going to change my view over here. Perfect. Yeah. I should be on a podcast about the topic about what like the study of games, like what is and what isn't a game. I know, right? Well, the funny thing, we haven't done an episode. I don't think I've done an episode for what is and isn't a game. Ludology has done it a few times, but I don't know. It's tough because I also think everyone has kind of their own definitions, and I also think it doesn't super matter. Like, if someone wants to call the thing that they made a game, I'm not going to say, oh, I don't think of that as a game. If someone thinks the thing that they're creating, believes that the thing they're creating is a game, then it's a game. So that's, I think a lot of times, it's interesting from an academic perspective, but a lot of times in practice, people use it as kind of a gatekeeping thing, which is not super cool. All right. And then if I come over here, does this show up like I hope it's going to? Sweet. Cool. All right. Gameologist. I was thinking about writing an article for my Professional Societies magazine a couple of years ago explaining how hunting, where you pursue game species, is actually a specialized case of game design, and how management could borrow some game design concepts in its approach. That sounds amazing. It sounds like it would be a fascinating thing. And, like, I am just such a huge believer that game design can feed into so many different industries, and I think it's really just in its early stages of... I think we're only just starting to see how it can influence and change the world. And I'm really excited about that. Since I listened to Ludology back when it started, and that was like episode 1. Yeah, there's been a few episodes over the course of it. It's been going for 12 years now, so there's a lot. And we just recorded episode 222. So, yeah, that'll show you. They've touched on the topic a few times. And I think it's interesting, too, to see how the definition evolves over time and how people have very different definitions. Yeah. Definitions. It's good for communication, I guess, and that's how people can get. It's good for communication, but it can be bad if people get too wrapped up in exactly. It's like people who get wrapped up in the grammar or pronunciation of words. It's like, yeah, there's a correct way, there's a correct meaning, or there's a correct way to say this word, but if you're always calling people out for doing it wrong, then you're also not effectively communicating. Like, if someone comes up to me and says, hey, do you want to play a game? What I think in the back of my mind is, like, I have a very strong idea of what I think a game is, but I don't know what they think of as a game. So they say, hey, do you want to play a game? I'm like, okay, cool. Yes, I want to have this new experience. And for me, I will always say yes. If someone comes up and say, like, hey, do you want to play a game? might ask about things is like stabbing yourself in the hand. Well, I don't want to play that game, but most games. It's good to clarify some things, I guess. And I'll have some ideas of what that is, but I'll also be open to, hey, maybe their concept of a game is different from my concept of a game. It's like if someone says, like, do you want to have a pizza? You know, that's such a funny, it's such an interesting metaphor. And then I'll say, like, yeah, sure, I would like to have a pizza. So like, oh, it's a different kind of pizza, or it's a different kind of game, especially if they frame it that way. Then, like, I want to have new experiences, so I'm excited for this new pizza. Some people are very strict. They know what they think a pizza is, or they have a very strong idea of what a game is, and they're going to be disappointed if the game doesn't fit within their definition. Yeah. Game is so interesting in all the different connotations and meanings and and then too, like we think of our definition of games, especially board games, you know, do you want to play a board game? A sizable part of the population will think that you mean Monopoly, or will think you mean Scrabble, or Sorry, or something along those lines. And then you say, oh, do you want to play a board game? And you break out Scythe, or Rising Sun, or Terra Mystica, then like their interpretation of board game is very different than what our interpretation. It's just very broad. It's just such a broad term encompassing so many different things at this point. Which is fun. Cool. All right. So here's Tabletop Simulator. Again, I watched about half of the tutorial, so we'll see how this goes. I'm actually going to menu. I don't know how to save yet. I should probably learn that. Okay, so create. This is Tabletop Simulator. I'm using it. I'm using the version that's on Steam. One of the most interesting things that confused me when I first fired up the program is I saw this and assumed that I had to pick one of these things. But if you just X out of here, it will just put you into it. So that window, you don't have to interact with that, and that's one of the most important things that I learned from watching this tutorial, which I'm actually going to post because I liked it. It's not super long, and it was pretty straightforward for me for getting into it. And I'm no way, shape, or form an expert on this, so yeah, take everything I say with a grain of salt and probably watch that video. Hey, look, it's me. So I'm holding the right mouse button now. This one has a background, which you can change. Use the scroll to zoom in and out. Hold it to adjust the angle of the table, and use WASD to move around on it, which I only just learned today. So you can kind of get at all the different parts of it. First thing for most games. Okay, so the games will bring up this window again with all the different stuff that you can do. And here, objects is where most of the stuff is. Tables is probably one of the first things you want to do. Just get a square table. So we're just working on a 2-player game here. There's a ton of customization you can do. Again, I haven't really dug into it too much, so I just want to do some of the basics. And hopefully this will help other people as well who are interested in getting into it. Yeah, components, which is most of the stuff that you're going to want to put in here. Plastic or metal? Ooh. Get all the different dice. Make it big. The physics in this game are pretty cool. If you want to collect the dice, throw them like this and you can roll them. I think they come back. Yeah, they come back. That's good. There's also a table flip option. When you're playing this with other people, you can turn that off. Because as funny as it is... How? As funny as it is, I don't know how to get my table back. Strength check passed. Yeah, I don't know if you can get your table back. I think you'd have to... Oh, okay. Ah, rewind time. Excellent. Oh, this program's funny. And I think I just delete all those. Cool. So you can add stuff, delete stuff. There's the players. Is it just me or is the table levitating? Yeah. I mean, I think it just yes, look, this is not the most advanced software. I'll say that. If I hear, do you want to play a game? My first thought is, will this make me feel awkward? Fair. Drop shadows are overrated. Yeah, for sure. If I hear, do you want to play a game? My first thought is, global thermonuclear war. Do you want to play a game? I agree. We're playing a game on a glass balcony on the 120th floor. Yes. Yeah, I guess a drop shadow would make that look kind of like it. It does look like it's kind of levitating. I don't know. Brad, when people hear, shall we play a game? Something video game instinctually. Yeah, something board game and something of an 80s movie with Matthew Broderick. Yes, that's the one that I think about. I want to make that dice stack again. That was fun. I wonder how large we can get it. Dice. I guess it's the D6s, because they stack. Oh, endless dice. Oh, it's like a fountain of dice just erupting out of the table. I wonder how many dice you can make before it crashes. Whoa. So many. Why? Throw them off the table. They should come back. That's pretty cool. Oh, some fell off the table again. They're going to come back. Just wait for it. Are they going to come back? I don't know. Those ones might be gone. 292. It's a pretty good roll. I can right click, set the value. I can set them all to 6, which is cool. I can make them different colors or not. Yeah, there we go. Match the color of the table. You just press R to roll them all without throwing them off the table. 310, 265, 304. I can zoom into individual dice. I can make them go up or make them go down. Cool. For the game we're doing, we don't need dice. We're going to delete these. We're going to try and do a card game. Brad says I would accidentally flip the table in the middle of a game on Tabletop. How do you the buttons up here? Maybe there's a shortcut for that. I guess it's fair. And I think when you're the editing stuff, you can turn off that flip. Gizmo. Ooh, fun. I also think there's some coding and stuff. Joint. Oh, the flicking is fun too. Yes, I'm getting distracted, but just let me have my moment. The flicking is pretty cool. Oops. Oh yeah, that. Flick it. This makes me want to make a flicking game for how fun this, or like a pinball style thing. Okay, so oh, you're gone forever. That's fine. Okay, get out of here. Options, server, okay, make a password, physics, permissions, table flip. Yes, so you can turn off that table flip. There you go. There's a pro tip for people who are worried about that getting in there. It's right next to it. I wanted to hit the menu button but missed. It's right next to it. You're right. No, I absolutely. If you are going for the menu button, it is right there. Table flip and menu. Yeah, it's absolutely right. This reminds me of 3D Studio Max days back in art school literally 20 years ago. Look, I didn't develop this software, okay? This is... It's... we have to be fair here. There's a relatively small audience of people who want to play board games on the computer up until like a week ago. So who knows? Maybe we're going to be seeing some more advanced board game simulation software coming out of all this because, yeah, there's definitely much more of a desire for these kinds of things over the course of recent events. We're not paying you to get distracted. But it's so fun. Don't you want to watch me just roll dice? I'm going to do a stream of that. It's just me rolling dice. I'm sure someone would be interested in watching that. Okay, cool. Thinking. So I posted that video there if you want to follow along at home. They have the saved objects. A board, but for what we're doing, we're just going to do custom. You can do custom boards and that kind of things, figurines. We're going to do a deck of cards. Yeah, so this is Heartcatchers. You might recognize it. It is the first game that I had published. I've actually gotten the rights back to this game. And I'm going to be workshopping it a little bit, updating it. So I think there's some fun stuff that I can play around with and modify. But what's cool is I have this nice sheet of cards that's already made into the shape. So the importing the images into Tabletop Simulator, it's good, but a little tricky. Like, it's not intuitive if you haven't done it before, but it actually just takes... okay, there's a template for it found in the game folder. Oh, and it can take JPEGs. It can take MP4s. Interesting. Can you put movies in here? Weird. Or a Unity 3D object. Cool. But it actually wants a sheet of cards. So hopefully this will work. I'm gonna do Heartcatchers. Make a new folder. Heartcatchers, Tabletop Simulator. Cards front. Alright, and that's saved as a PNG file. I should probably just save this whole thing. Now it says it's Photoshop file. That's probably fine. Okay, so I saw this in the demo video and it just worked. So we're just going to go ahead and do this. Although, we'll need the backs as well. Proofs, backs. Okay, the back is as a single file. I wonder if that will work. We will find out. Put this into Tabletop Simulator. Okay, well, we're learning as we go, so we'll see how this works. So yeah, for this, I'm going to get a file from my computer. And It's going to be in the Dropbox. Art catchers, tabletops. All right. Upload it to the cloud. So if you want it to other people to be able to play it, you want it in the cloud. All right. Upload this. Okay. We're just going to do this and know that we're going to mess up because I'm kind of curious to see. So the width is 4. And the height is 5 because there's 20. And there's 20 cards. I think I know what's going to happen if I do this. I think I need to make a sheet out of the backs, but we're going to see how silly this ends up. Because it's learning by doing, right? Alright, the cards are not sideways, backs are not hidden, so let's do it. Oh, it does not, okay, does not support CMYK. It must just be RGB JPEGs. So we're gonna open, oh, we're just gonna go ahead and fix this. Alright, so image size, inches, 2.5, we're gonna have to do some math over here. 2.5 times 4. Or 2.56. 10. Duplicate that. Canvas size. one pixels. Perfect. We're just gonna tile these. So we're gonna make, our goal is to make this sheet look like this other sheet. So we have the backs. And what's cool about this is you can make the card backs, unique card backs pretty easily. And it's nice too, you don't have to make individual images. If you've made for any sort of printing before, you're probably gonna have a tiled version like this. There's a lot of softwares that can do it if that's not something that you have done before. Okay, so image, canvas size is 3.543. And it is 5 tall, 17.715. 7. Perfect. So that's our sheet. It's gonna look like this with just tiling these things. Duplicate. Slowly but surely. We duplicate both of those. Huh. Interesting. I was like, I might have messed up that math. Because these should, no, they're going to fit perfectly. It's just going to fit perfectly. It's going to work. Just looks like it's not going to work. Yeah. Didn't quite work, probably. Okay, somehow our math didn't work out, but we'll just crop that down a little bit. We'll just manually crop it, and then we can duplicate these. Check these down. Yeah, so what we're doing is making our file that we're going to import, which is nice in Tabletop Simulator because it's just going to cut these into, it's going to feed in the whole sheet and then spit it out as a deck of cards, and then you'll be able to shuffle those cards, play around with the cards. I'm actually pretty lucky with heart catchers because just the way that you can manipulate the cards with flipping them over and the tools that I'll show you in a second, it's pretty easy. This is actually probably going to be a lot more straightforward than it might be for some other games. Right. And I don't know why my math didn't work for that, but live and learn. Yeah. So we're going to have our lovely 20 card backs here. And the other nice thing about this, if you do have blank spaces, because in the tutorial video they had some blank spaces, and those just crop this, almost perfect. Those just disappear, so you don't need to have an exactly even number of cards. You don't have to fill up this whole space, even though that's what we're doing for this one. Perfect. Save as, what did we call that? Cards back. Okay, I'm gonna export that as PNG, because why not? Cool. Yeah, so we're gonna have the fronts and the backs, and it's gonna work perfectly without any bugs at all. Hopefully. Okay, now you're not going to be mad because I'm going to give you a PNG, put it in the cloud, upload it. Okay, async loading images. Image loader does not support. That must have been my previous one. Okay, wait, it's in there. Okay. Okay. Oh my gosh, that's so cute. There's a couple of things you can do. You can use magnify. Oh my gosh, that works really well. I probably want to take off the pink borders of them. But again, we have the files, so we're just trying to do this quickly as possible. I'm holding down the M button that does a magnify on it, or I can hold Alt, which will just, if you're hovering over a card, it will bring it right up in front of your face. Let's try that again. Card back. Huh. Front. Cloud. Load. Does not support CMYK JPEG, but it's not a JPEG. I don't know why you think it's a JPEG. Or maybe that's just doing that. Okay. Huh. Oh, shoot. Oh! Okay. So this made that whole sheet be the back of our cards. That's kind of funny. I hope y'all are enjoying my tech blunders here, because I'm having fun. Before the Renaissance came the Dark Ages, after the fall of Rome. Yeah, that's fair. Okay, so we're going to delete these. Start over again. I think we're 90% there. Okay, we're going to do the deck. Card fronts. Cloud. Alright, so I'm going to say unique backs, because I think that will... I think we could have used just the single back as a single image. But I think now it will do that same splitting thing. Perfect. Oh my gosh, I'm a superhero. I'm so happy right now. This is such a great day. I don't know. I do a lot of tech stuff. I work with a lot of different software programs. I'm sure there are many complications in Tabletop Simulator, but I'm incredibly happy with that I did that just now. Cool. Yeah, so this is Heart Catchers. How... Okay, cool. One of the interesting things about Tabletop Simulator is this going to be on the test. Yes, pay lots of attention. It has this interesting thing where, oh yeah, these are the zones. So you can deal someone a card by putting it into their zone, which is pretty cool. And then you can't see what that card is, and that's in their hand. And I think, yeah, I can put this back on top of the deck. It does short clicks and long clicks, which is really interesting. It's kind of hard to demonstrate on the screens. Let me zoom in here. So if I click real fast and pull, it will take a single card. But if I hold down, it will pick up the whole deck. And I think shuffles. So there's a shuffler in there. Again, it can be a little tricky to get used to. I can also just shake it like this, and that will shuffle the cards. Flip over the deck will flip the whole deck. And you see we have the green catches blue secret here. And then if I shuffle, it's a different card on the bottom. So hey, the shuffle actually works. So that's cool to see. It's cool to see the thing is doing the thing that we wanted it to do. Cool. So yeah, I can pull out one. So Heart Catchers is a 2-player game of secrets and deception. You start out dealing each player 3 cards. Oh, I just dropped one off the edge, and there it's back. Okay, went too far. And when I pull them into me... okay. To say that's because you should. I might have to change the settings for that because you're supposed to be able to flip them over in your hand without the other player seeing them. I'd have to check that. Probably the other player. Let me see if I can change my view. Oops. Options, server. Okay, I can change my server. Hands. Enable. Okay. Yeah, so I believe how it's set up is my opponents, I can see this. And I wouldn't be able to see my opponent's cards. But there's some playing around the settings for those. And the deck is over here. And we deal out 3 cards to each side. Leaving 8 cards left. Kind of line these up. I could probably change it to grid, but not too grid. Is it snapping to the grid? I don't know, it's hard to tell. Grid, let's show the grid. Okay. Perfect. That's good, yeah. All right. So you see here I have the rotation set to 90 degrees. So that is when I use my scroll wheel. It's a little tricky on my mouse, but I'm just tapping the scroll wheel, and because this is set to 90, that's how far it goes. If I have it set to other amounts, then it will go that amount. But I want this to be to 90. Alright, all these cards, and no, those ones. Alright, so the way that Heart Catchers works is at the end of the game, you're going to be scored. You get 1 point for each face-up card on your side at the end of the game, and there's going to be secrets played face down underneath all the different piles. We're going to manipulate and pull the piles around. So the cards will do different things. If you play them face up, then you're only doing them for the colors, and any effects on the bottom of them don't go into effect. Yeah. So Yeah, this is super weird playing it because it's very important that there's secret hidden information. So trying to play it with 2 players, with 1 player playing 2 people is weird. But yeah, so for example, blue catches red. That means that if I put blue down on top of red, I'll be able to pull this pile over to my side. And the way I would do that would just be to put this on here, which makes me, I guess, because usually the way I do it is, you have to turn off the grid. Yeah, because I usually lay it, okay, I like that. Lay it down so you can see a little bit what's going on there. Oh, perfect. Yeah, because you have to be able to move the whole stack with the face down cards. That could be weird. We'll see how that goes. So anyways, so I put this over here. That means this stack comes over to my side, and then I give this person, I replace it with one of the cards from my side. That would be my turn. Then I would draw a card. New card to replace it. Now this person's going to go, I'm going to say for now they're going to place this secret. Okay, that works pretty well. So the secrets go face down and perpendicular under the stack, but it looks like just by clicking that, I can bring it to the top. So, and okay. See, I want to, okay, if I select the whole thing, oh gosh, oh, that's been a bad. Okay, don't try and put it in someone's hands, because that messes everything up. Yeah, so this is supposed to be like this, and then this goes, so they just placed a secret underneath one of their piles. So now I have a heartbreaker, and you look at this one, -3 points. So at the end of the game, all the secrets are revealed. Whoever's side they are on, that person gets the effect. So for example, so you flip it over in your hand so they can't see it. And it'll go over here. So I'm going to put that on their side, or I might choose to put it on my side. So that they would think they'd think it was a good thing and try to steal it. Draw, get a new one. Alright. They would have a new one as well. So we just play until all of the cards are gone. Let's see if they have a green. They don't, they have a bunch of reds. Well, red catches green, so yeah, they might decide to take this pile. So they would put that on there. This works pretty well. Move this up a little bit. And I can just select this whole thing. Jiggles about a little bit, but yeah, they might give me this thing. Yeah. And reorganize that. So that's basically the game. You have the cards, keep playing stuff out, and then at the end of the game, you flip over the secrets. Like this was that doesn't have any special effect. Yeah, this was a heartbreaker. So this player would have -3 points. And then they just get 1 point for every face-up card at the end of the game. Cool. Yeah, so this, I hope y'all are enjoying this. This is my first game that I've got into Tabletop Simulator. I'm very excited on a multitude of levels. One, because for streaming game design, this is definitely a lot easier to be able to get a game together quickly enough. And in the future, I could just, mock up some of the ideas that we're talking about on stream. If it's going to be for a card game, make the sheet of it, get the cards in here, and we can actually play around with it on stream. That's been one of my goals for the stream, has been to get stuff go through the whole process in the stream. In the past, we've done more just ideating and brainstorming on the stream and less getting it into the next stage of prototyping. So I'm very excited. This seems like a great tool and fairly easy to use. So just use this to get more games into the prototype phase more quickly. And since all playtesting for the foreseeable future is going to be digital, and then this is a great system, definitely one that I can recommend. There's a few things I want to work out for flipping cards in hand. It might be an option. Hands. Oh gosh. Disable unused. Reverse. Oh, weird. Disable hiding. Reverse. Default. Cool. So you can see there's a lot of different options to play around with. And this is a card game. I develop a lot of card games, design a lot of card games. I know other people have stuff with a lot of other components to it, but at least for components, custom, if you want to do an individual card, you can also just do a card at a time. It would be slower getting all the cards in there, but that's an option. You can make your own custom dice, get in boards or tiles or tokens, the different components. Ugh. Yeah. Yeah, there's a board. Oh shoot. Oh no, I've made a board. How do I get rid of it? Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Oh good. That was scary. The boards are cool because you can pick up the board and actually holds all the stuff under it. So it's like, should I maybe have the cards be boards? The physics and colliders for the different things work a little bit differently. But yeah, that was, again, from watching half of a tutorial video. That's what I figured out. So yeah, fun way to design playtest games. This is all how I'd be playtesting for a while now. So hopefully we can maybe even have a playtesting stream where we just hop on Tabletop Simulator and test some stuff out that we've been working on stream. Have the whole life cycle there. Yeah, the zooming. Yeah, that's the one thing I will say about Tabletop Simulator and why I'm glad to do a demo of it, because I was trying to like maneuver the board before I knew the WASD thing. I'm like, well, I can rotate it. I can't quite get to where I want to be, but then I was like, oh, you can pan the whole thing. So it reminds me, and the zooming, so you really have a lot of control over the view of it, which is very important for a tabletop game, to be able to see things. And if you didn't know, like magnification is cool, but it's, you know, you could be looking at the cards upside down. So the alt is nice because that just puts it right up in front of your face as if you were picking up the card and looking at it. Another nice thing about Tabletop Simulator is you can come over here and like move over to the other side and see it from the other person's perspective, which is something you can do with physical tabletop games, but a lot of people just don't want to do that. Like get up and move around. It can be kind of a social faux pas. So to be able to zoom in, zoom out, it's kind of a nice feature of being on a digital platform. Not that I don't totally miss playing games physically, but there definitely are some benefits to doing it in this manner. Do you want to get Carnival Fair into a digital format? Yeah, that does make me think I should do Tabletopia as well, just for research purposes. So if you, yeah, I'm going to put that in my notes too as a thing to do. Alright, so I don't want to make any promises because my schedule's pretty tight, but I'm going to see if I can check out Tabletopia so I can hopefully give some advice about that as well. Maybe Camel Cargo. Brad says, haven't yet put my stuff in Tabletop Simulator. Been kind of daunted by the tax. I know! Like, this is why I'm so excited, because I was very daunted by it, too. Watching that video, which is, the link is earlier in the chat. This isn't me. I 100% speak to that video for getting me over that hump of being worried about it. And just seeing, for cards at least, if you have a lot of custom components and tiles, a little trickier, but for cards and for dice things, it does work pretty... No, I don't want this. It does work pretty well. Yeah. If I just have a dice here, you know, you can... if you have a game with dice where they sit on cards, you can carry it around, just roll it, increment, and decrement it. They don't always go super straight, which can be a little frustrating, but there's a lot of really great functionality in here. I have a bedazzled skull. I do? Oh, on my shirt. Yeah, that's my sweatshirt. There, it's a bedazzled skull. I got this. Was it in PAX Unplugged or PAX East? One of those two places. Or maybe it was at Gen Con where I thought that my luggage... I think it was at PAX East last year where my luggage was lost and I thought it was gone forever. So I got this sweatshirt. It was great. Your mom, the movement options seem like a good way to utilize the cheating strategy. No, there's, I guess, it's not doing hands correctly here for some reason. Again, I don't want to mess around with it too much on stream because it might take me a little while to figure out, but other games that I've played with people is when they're in the hands, the other person can't see the cards. So... Oh, that's interesting. Okay. No, it is doing it because these... I don't have this many change of hearts in here. So this is just showing a card. This isn't the actual cards that are in their hands. I don't know how to become that player. Yeah, I would have to change the number of players. I'd have to do a server for more players because these, again, like every card is showing as... don't know why that happened. Yeah, these are not the cards that are actually in their hand. So I don't know how to make it so you can see the cards that are in their hand. Yeah, so cheating. Yeah, because you see it changes when I bring it out into the board to the card that it actually is. And then I put it in their hand, then it becomes this one. This is an interesting thing. Yeah, there's some interesting quirks to this. I was playing a game earlier. They have dice bags, which is cool, but for some reason in the game I was playing, the dice were yellow, but the owner of the server was seeing the dice as yellow, but the dice I was seeing were blue. It was the same dice. We sent screenshots and confirmed, so that was super weird. Definitely some weirdnesses and some bugs to it, but I've successfully played several games in it, so can confirm is good. And now, game name, heart catchers. And now, there is maybe a way to save this. I didn't get that far in the tutorial to figure out how to save it. Maybe in the help menu. How to save. Oh, also, I'd very much recommend, which I was going to do again because I hadn't played in a bit. If you do the tutorial for it, it's got a lot of this stuff as well. So, lift height. I don't know what that does. Gosh. Oh, now it's just there forever. Go away. I don't want you. Maybe it's just automatically saved. Change team. Oh, there we go. Cool. Yeah, so you can change your color. So if I come over to this side, I see this person's hand. This side, I can see this person's hand. Okay, that's what it is. So that's the way. It's kind of weird that it's showing up as those. Okay, because I want it to be. So it is hiding, it's just being weird. Okay. Cool. Yeah, Tabletop Simulator. I'm not going to close this because I don't know how to save it yet. So I'm just going to go back to my other view. Where I have this and go back to my notes. Hey Rose, I did see a game of Arkham Horror LCG played on last weekend. Nice. Yeah, I know there's some, there's published games as well. So not just a tool for designing games, although it is very useful for that, designing and playtesting and prototyping games. There's a lot of published games. I know people use Tabletop Simulator, but I would say Tabletopia and Board Games Arena are a little more player focused. So if you were doing something where you're trying to get new players into it, or if you're trying to publish your tabletop game digitally, which is a cool thing to do as well, those might be a little bit better suited to that. Cool. I think that's pretty good for today. I feel accomplished getting a game in Tabletop Simulator, showing the platform off to people so you can get a little bit better feel for it. I shared that video. We got some ideas for the Twitter story game. I've got some new directions to try for that. Yes. I shouldn't get caught up on the name. I was like, should this be version 2 of the story game? Should I keep the original version so I have a little bit of a track back for it? I should just do it. Just publish it and start it and have people play it because, yeah, that's what we need. Like, not get too caught up on the details, just get more games out there. And as we saw with the original Twitter game, getting it out onto the platform, getting some feedback based on how people are using it is way, way more valuable than trying to think about it and tweak it and get it perfect up here in the brain. Yeah, so if there's any more thoughts or questions, let me know. As a reminder, if you're looking for playtesting digitally on Wednesday evenings Pacific time, you can go ahead and join the Seattle Tabletop Game Designers. We'll be coordinating that. I know it's a little late for East Coast people. There is also NYC Playtest is coordinating events from an East Coast time perspective, which is nice. And they're doing digital playtesting as well and looking for more people to hop in on that. So you can reach out to their groups. I believe they have a Google group for that, or message Gil Hova. Should be able to connect you as well. John Brieger is doing events. If you look at the Bay Area Tabletop Devs, I think is the group, they're coordinating some digital events as well. With us all being isolated and stuck at home, it's important to make sure that we're still connecting with people on a regular basis, because it can be very easy to fall into the trap of not doing that. And just days go by and you realize you haven't really interacted or talked with people because all the things that you usually do aren't happening anymore. So definitely encourage y'all to get out digitally, even if you're not getting out physically. Connect with people, find groups. Oh, there's one other thing I want to share. You might not have seen this, although it was floating around the internet a lot yesterday. There's a free online tabletop gaming convention scheduled to happen in May, but the Discord group is already very active. And this is one, again, if you just want to connect with people digitally, this is great, and play games. This isn't necessarily for game design. This is just to hang out with people and play some stuff. The convention itself is happening in mid-May. They're looking to do a bunch of panels and have an exhibitor area and gameplay and do lots of really cool stuff. But people are already hanging out on the Discord and chatting with each other, and it seems people are already organizing play. So even before they have their event, it seems like it's going to be an active community place to hang out with people who love games. Kimo says, my current mission is setting up streaming movie nights with friends and family. Yeah. It's a lot of little things. You know, it's going to be going on for a while. I think a lot of us had hoped a week or two ago, this might be happening for a few weeks, but it's looking like it could go on for longer than that. So the sooner you set up new habits and new ways of spending time with people, it can be a little awkward getting on video, doing a Discord chat, but if you have the option for a video chat, it can be a great way. Seeing someone's face can go a long way to substitute for having their actual presence, and you can feel a lot more natural talking to people that way. So yeah, if you're watching a movie, then connect with someone on voice or have their video there, or even just be on a text chat so you're both watching the movie at the same time in different places, but messaging each other during it. A lot of fun ways to stay connected. It's something that I'm working on a lot with these games that I'm doing, with the community organizing, looking for more ways to keep doing that. So hope you all are taking care of yourself physically and emotionally. It's tough times. We're going to be getting through it. I'm going to keep doing my streams. I have the Tuesday streams that we're doing for board game design. Thursdays I play Magic. Some of the shows that I'm doing are up in the air for scheduling. So with these tools and everything kind of coming together, I might be able to work in some more streams. Senior Bob, I know you're voting for Saturdays. We'll see. Keep in mind some more times we might get the shows on, because I love connecting with you and I find it super valuable and motivational to have people to work with. Yeah, that's gonna be it for today. You can hit the follow button if you want to be notified when I go live. If you have Amazon Prime, you can get free Twitch subscriptions, which is super fun. Just like no cost to you, subscribe and help support streamers. You can also connect with me here or Twitter at MLarkins. I'm very active. If you ever want to follow up with stuff we talked about here, share your designs, have any questions, I'm always available to connect with people. Hope you have a good rest of your week. I'll see you around the digital table, and see you soon.